B42. B42.
You're ready?
Okay.
Bingo.
Being after 8:30 and us having a quorum, we will officially call this meeting to order, the Nacogdoches Convention and Visitors Bureau. First order on the agenda is to approve the minutes for the September meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
A motion and a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Luna. All in favor of approving the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're approved there. And Ms. Bartlett will present financial. Okay, we will change and go into, I'm on the wrong month, which is why I don't have this. Apologize. All right, we have a special community presentation today. Mr. Rowan Donahue is going to present before the board here, and so we're excited about that. And so we'll turn it over to Ms. Morgan to present Mr. Donahue. Of course it is. It makes sense. Mr. Donahue, how are you this morning?
Good.
Good. Well, welcome. We're excited to see what you have for us.
All right, buddy, I'm gonna bend this microphone down. If you can do your best, just to talk close to that.
Okay.
And start off, this is the Visitor Center Board of Directors, and that's Dr. Jack Nelson,
Okay.
and Mrs. Sarah Drake, and Mr. John McLaren, and Mrs. Shirley Luna, and Mr. Damon Ruckel.
Okay.
Okay, and I think they're all ready for you. Take it away.
So the ladder to the loft where the children slept, walls were made of home logs.
You want to tell us what your model is?
Well, the model is a dog trot house.
And what made you want to build a model of a dog trot house?
Well, it all started when I went to a house here in Nacogdoches where it's from the 1800s, and so I visited there, and then soon I went to the George Ranch in Houston, and then so that's what made me want to build one of the dog trot houses.
Rowan, what's special about the dog trot house? It's built
Well-
with the hallway down the middle. What's special about that?
Well, it's so the air can go through, so that way the people who would live in it would get air. They call it the breezeway.
Can you tell them what the people did that lived in the dog trot cabin?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, they went out in the middle of nowhere and built a house. Do you remember why they went there?
no,
They were given some land. Do you remember what they were gonna do on the land?
they were gonna have crops.
Or raise cattle?
Yeah, raise cattle or have crops. That's what they did at the George Ranch in Houston.
How many hours did it take you to build the house?
Well, it took more than one day. It took several days to build it. It all started with these popsicle sticks that,
Did you gonna eat all of
started
those
when you had the
popsicles?
popsicle sticks, and then you put some glue on the popsicle sticks, put straw on the glue, and then put dirt on the straw, and then you get another popsicle stick, put glue on it, and put it on the other popsicle stick that had the dirt and all of that stuff on it.
Do you remember what that's called in the real house? When they put dirt and mud and grass between the logs?
Chinking.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna build next?
I don't think I was gonna build anything else.
Had enough of that. So, see, did you sketch out the house before you built it?
Yes. This is what I sketched. So here,
Actually, you drafted it, huh? You
so
drew it out on the
here's-
graph paper, huh?
So this is the breezeway, and here's the porch, and then, so here's the two. This is one of the sheds, and here's the other shed, and then, this is the bedroom, and this is their winter kitchen, and their outdoor kitchen would be right here. This outdoor kitchen is kind of like that. Kind of looks like it did in the George Ranch.
Rowan, where is the bathroom?
Well, they would usually either use a chain pot or a broken chair to sit on and have a pot under the chair and pee in it. They used a chain pot. That's what they did at the Sternhoya house, which is that one here in Nacogdoches.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you made furniture too. What'd you make the furniture out of?
Well, so we used some different kind of popsicle sticks right here, and then just glued it around there, and then we wrapped some little white string around there, and put some little popsicle sticks that were cut and used them to put on here for the legs, and then this is just felt with some straw in it. These two stuff are both felt, and then this is just some leather. It would be for the mattress, and this straw would be for the rope, like they did at the Sternhoya. And then this would be the sheet, and this would be the pillow. Wait, no, this would be the sheet. This is supposed to be the mattress because it has straw. They would have it like that, and then they would use a cover, and then the pillow, and that's it. They wouldn't have much furniture in the house back then.
And what do you want to be when you grow up, Rowan?
What?
What do you want to be? Do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Have you decided yet?
I don't know.
You might want to be an architect, maybe?
No.
No?
I think soon I think I might want to be in the army.
That would be awesome.
Do you have one last thing you want to share with us, Rowan?
Yes.
Maybe what's your favorite part?
What was your favorite feature of the dog trot house? What do
Well-
you like that it does?
They would have a bundle of these. They have a bundle of these, like a little bucket on the front porch with a bunch of bundles of logs. And sometimes when they run out of, sometimes when the log is already done and worn out from being burned up in their winter kitchen, and is when they would go back on the front porch and look for their logs that would be in their bucket, and when they find it, they would just pick only one bundle out of it and go back in their house and put it in the winter kitchen and start cooking.
That is very neat. Well, we are so thankful that you came to share that project at the Visitor Center. It's one of our jobs to tell people about the history of Texas and Nacogdoches, and certainly how people live, the kinds of houses they lived in. That's really important. And
Well-
we send a lot of people to Sternhuda, just like you got to go see it.
Well, when they built dog trot houses like this is when they would just use some logs and, well, I was talking about that shinking, they would do that with the logs, and then they would use mud instead of glue. They would just use mud and like grass to
That would
make
be a lot of glue.
Yeah. If they use glue, then which they don't, then that would be a lot, like thousands of squirts of it, which is awful.
That would be awful.
Rowan, thank you so much. That took a lot of
Thank you,
planning
Rowan.
and thought, and that's a fine job. Thank you, sir. Bring popsicles next time. Thank you. That's awesome. It's fantastic, Rowan. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're glad you shared that with us. Thank you. All right. Nice. All right. Now with the financials, Miss Cheryl Bartlett.
I don't have creative stuff. You should have a copy of the statement. This is the first month in the new fiscal year. And pretty self-explanatory. The one that's way out of whack, obviously, is the repairs and improvements. That good old $8,455 was a new air conditioner, which we don't need today, but last month when it was put in, they did need it, so. We have not received the third quarter hot tax yet. I'm guessing it should be fairly soon, but
At the last tax report, correct me, that I did receive, it looked like we were pacing in a good direction for this.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Are there any questions about the financials? Okay. Good. All right. Thank you, Ms. Bartlett. All right, Ms. Morgan, give us an update on the NAC app.
The app is now available for download in the App Store for iOS Apple users and in Google Play for Android users. We haven't officially launched it and spread the word yet because we want to have an anchor event to it, and I've been playing around with the functionality of it. One of the things that we get to do is for those people that have created an account and have enabled push notifications on their cell phones, we can now target those people for similar activities. So if they came for the sugar cane in January at the Durst Taylor House, we could, when there's another event of historical similarity, we can then track those people in whatever radius that we choose to say, you've been here before and enjoyed this, try this now. So that's what I've been playing around with in my spare time, trying to figure out how that is going to work for us, and then also curating our tour, so taking our statue trail walking tour from the brochure and putting that into the app. But it is available for download. We're still waiting on one bit from Simple View for it to be fully functional. They have to, I don't know, I'd make something up, but it's technical, it involves code, and I can't do it. So, but my plan is to launch it Small Business Saturday.
What's that date, Small Business Saturday?
It's the 30th, November 30th.
Okay, so it's the Black Friday weekend.
Any
All
questions?
right, good. Well, we'll get in there. Be sure to download it and give you some feedback if we see anything with its functionality that you can pass on to Simple View.
And it comes with weekly analytics, so we'll be able to gauge how many downloads and how many users. So that'll be part of our reporting to board, as we'll be able to bring those numbers to you and report.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, next we will roll into staff reports.
Mike's is in your folder, and Joanna will deliver hers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So it's been hopping over in my department. I'm excited. We have two 2020 RFPs that came through. One is through SFA and the Human Service Social Work Division. They have their 45th Annual National Institute on Social Work and Human Services in Rural Areas. It's going to bring over 100 people. It's a 2-day event in July, which is great, July 13th and 14th. So I'm working with them right now to get accommodations and things like that. Also, we have, I believe, and Sherry will report on the TTIA event we had. They followed up with their series of town hall meetings. They have about 4 of them a year, and they're looking to Nacogdoches to establish for one of those. So we have a variety of different dates. I'm in communication with Hannah right now over at the hotel to help on that. And that's just going to be a day meeting, but it could be between 50 and 100 people. And plus it's our category with the Travel Institute. And then for 2021, we're in second rounds for both the Pro Disc Golf Association. This is totally separate from the golf tournament that's here. However, this is the big boys. And what's so exciting about it is I'm working with Brian Bray and Dr. Sal on getting the information to them. So we've gone through round 1 of questions, and now we're getting down to specifics for Nacogdoches. So we're excited about that. And that will be determined in December. So we'll know in December if we have that. Of course, that's well over 200 people. That's going to be 300. So we'll be all over the place. I have recommended the Fredonia be the core base hotel, but these guys like to stay in B&Bs and everything else. The other one that I have that I thought was worth mentioning is also looks like a really good solid deal is our 2021 Texas Living History Association. I've worked with Hannah on that, but also Millard's Crossing, because they're going to be a key component to it. It was probably one of the most extensive RFPs that we've done, but I feel like we're at that point now where we can go through, share the story, cross T's, dot I's. So that's exciting. That's going to be 120 plus people, but they're going to be here for 4 days. So there's other things going on, but I figure that's kind of the top ones on there that look promising. Any questions?
It's also fantastic.
Sounds good. I did go to a film-friendly meeting this week. We're already film-friendly certified. However, no one in our office had been to kind of see, okay, so what does that mean? What can we do? Sherry is of the mindset that this is something we can do along with the music, because it's a creative resource. We've also just recently got an inquiry from the UK to do some filming down here, so that sounds really cool. They'll be here in January, so they're definite. They're just coming. So it's going to allow us to be more proactive in this, and it was a wonderful opportunity to learn more about film and how that affects tourism. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to share a lot of pictures and get some people over here for it.
I don't want to get too much in the nuts and bolts, but it's somebody that wants to film a film here.
Yes.
And coming from England, and
I
that's
believe it's it has to do with release the, yeah, so they're gonna be working with Chief Seavey.
It's like a documentary type situation.
And they're
That's
gonna be in.
really interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So they'll provide us with, they don't have any street closes or anything, we don't need permits, but we do wanna have an idea of why they're coming and, you know, fill out a form for us, so. And they'll be using a drone company here locally.
We don't want to end up in an expose.
Yeah. Are you gonna talk about the, event from last night?
No, I wanted you to.
Oh, okay. So we kicked off our Knack for Music last night over at the Mill Room. It was fantastic. So we were a little concerned, you know, being our first, you know, oh my God, is anyone going to show up for the party? But the folks that were there were just the right people. I had people afterwards saying, we want to donate door prizes. We'll be back. We'll bring our friends. We're out every Thursday anyway. This is perfect right after work. I mean, we opened at 5 and we had people there at 5. So food truck, Blind Pursuit, a band out of Palestine was there. You know, Kevin was happy. He said he absolutely loved it, was his words. He comped our bar bill, which is always good. And, but it was just a whole lot of fun, and everybody was smiling, and we were all boogieing. We had a great time. We also had a writer there he's a musician as well as used to report for the newspaper. And so he's already done a story for us and taken a picture, so we'll have that this Saturday in order to promote out for our next one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Who
fantastic.
does he write for?
He used to write for the paper, but now he's back at the university. He was on the crime beat, so I think it kind of rattled him a bit. But we'll take a look at his style, and if it's something we like, we hope to, yeah, we'll push it out and hopefully have him as our contributor for music.
Excellent.
All right? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Ms. Morgan.
Well, we have been very, very busy, but perhaps the most exciting news I have for you today is that we completed 10 interviews for the Creative Content Director position, and I am overjoyed to let you know that Ashley Morgan has accepted the position, and she comes to us from Nedco, and she's right there. Her first day is going to be on December the 3rd. So she's transitioning out of her role in Nedco and finishing up some projects. And then we've got the Thanksgiving holiday in there. So she's already been over. She and Joanna have their heads together, planning out what I hope is good stuff. So welcome, Ashley.
Welcome, Ashley.
Stephen Pearl in HR and I have been working on the directive from the board to look into hiring an intern. We had wanted to do it with a scholarship stipend model, and we haven't been able to find an example of that coalesces with the city's pay structure. Stephen just doesn't know. He's never heard of it being done before, but he did offer a reasonable, to me, alternative. I believe her name is Mrs. Fife in the university in work study. She has agreed to offer 20 hours a week at minimum wage. The state and the university pays 75%, and we would be left with 25%, which at minimum wage would be a little over $2 an hour. And they would cut the checks and just invoice us for our part. So that way we wouldn't get into, it would still be outside of the city's pay structure, and even the CVB as a nonprofit, it wouldn't put us in any legal requirement to be an employer or pay any of those taxes. So it seems like a reasonable solution, and I'll be moving forward to collect more information. But at this point, that seems, because if you crunch the numbers,
It's just over 500 a semester.
Yeah.
So
it's not too far off the mark. We did have the TTIA, Travel Texas Tourism Industry Association. Their travel study came through, the travel caravan, and we were able to secure an overnight stay. Joanna planned a mini taste of knack for their dinner upstairs in the tobacco warehouse. Sarah Drake was there representing, and the culinary students served as our servers, were our servers at each table. They did a fantastic job. And that whole group, which it was comprised of Bob Phillips and his nephew Davis Phillips, who are icons in travel and tourism. Their family owns Phillips Entertainment, which holds Ripley's Believe It or Not in San Antonio and most of that area around the Alamo, and several escape rooms, and they're pretty important people. They were floored. They hands down said that we did the best job. We won. We won Travel Caravan. And Representative Clardy and Damon came out for breakfast the next morning, and despite, the weather, they had a great time, and our community partners, as always, really showed up for us and showed out for us. We had a story on KTRE, and it couldn't have gone any better. Maybe with some sunshine, but it was really impressive, and it was our presence at that and our performance at that event that's led for TTIA wanting to bring us this opportunity to put in a bid for a town hall. And it's not an industry that really likes to keep going to the same location over and over again, because we're Texas and we don't have to. We have so many great places, but I think we shone a spotlight on some different aspects of Nacogdoches. So that was really interesting. To bring you up to speed on some other things that I've been working on, the Lot Crew is a chamber program that takes 5 8th grade students from each campus in the county, and they go through sort of a miniature leadership knack. Each month they have a whole day where they go and visit different aspects. This month it was the city and county day. Last month was community theater, and then travel and hospitality. Ryan Russell at the Fredonia took them through a back of the house tour, and I was able to have some time with them to talk to them about tourism and what it is and why it's important to us here, and then also take them through the Texas Friendly Ambassador training, which is a program out of Texas AgriLife that is specifically geared towards high schoolers, but 8th grade's close enough. Speaking as a parent of an 8th grader, it's really, wow, that's close enough. So I certified 36 beautiful, bright youngins. They're Texas friendly. They're roaming the streets Texas friendlier. This week I was the speaker at the Newcomers Club. They hosted their breakfast in our basement and asked for me to share some thoughts on what's happening in travel and tourism. I attended the NEDCO meeting yesterday where I imparted news. Today I'll be speaking with Wayne Mitchell of the Chamber of Commerce at Transfer Orientation Luncheon, talking to those families, and the numbers are up this year. And on that note, Wayne received, when you think, what does tourism have to do with transfer orientation, it's letters like this. This came from a parent at our last session. I've been meaning to write this note for a while, so I apologize for its delay. My daughter and I attended the orientation for transfer students at SFASU this summer, and I really enjoyed your organization's presentation at the luncheon. I have 2 daughters who have attended 4 schools, and I've never seen a community take interest in the college students like you did. I applaud your involvement with the college, and as a parent, it's reassuring to know that the town I'm sending my child off to is supportive of her choices and growth. Sincerely, Cherie Buttle. Yeah, so we're making an impact. And then recently I was named the chair for Leadership Nacogdoches Alumni Group.
Awesome.
And then just wrapping up, we, in the gift shop, we invested in a big stamp of our badge to put on our bags. So when we have interns come in, they've been helping us get these so that we can reinforce the great marketing campaign that Hancock brought to us. We've also brought in two different, a sweatshirt and a hoodie for the winter months. And they're back, our historic site Afghans. And we haven't even advertised them, and Mike's already sold 4. So we're excited about that. We are going to be featured in several upcoming publications. One of the participants in the travel caravan was from Texas Highways, and they're working on a story on Sam Houston. They were unaware of the ties to Sam Houston here in Nacogdoches, so Nacogdoches is going to be featured in a Texas Highways publication for that, and that should be, I think that's February edition. And the publications editor for TxDOT, she does Texas Travel Guide and Texas Events Calendar. She is going to be reaching out to me in the new year to do an editorial piece about Nacogdoches. And there's a publication called Where to Retire, and Nacogdoches has a spotlight in that, and we've been named number 8 in the top 10 places to retire in Texas. So that comes with an accompanying article. And then the digital edition, November-December edition of Southern Traveler, we are in their top spots to stop in Texas, and they've done an editorial spotlight on Nacogdoches, and I purchased an advertorial to go alongside of it. So we'll be having quite a presence in that, and that's a publication that has a strong presence in sort of our touch states and beyond, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. So excited to spread the news there. You may have noticed on South Street coming in, the old La Quinta is now OYO, O-Y-O. And in your, the front pocket of your board book is an article that ran on then part of October in Forbes magazine. It explains about the significance of OYO. They target underperforming properties. They're the world's most rapidly growing hospitality business at the moment. Started by a 19-year-old college dropout in India. They've got properties all in India and China. In February, they opened 2 test properties in Dallas and Austin. And to date, they have 110 properties in first-tier cities, so larger cities, and 4 in second-tier cities, and Nacogdoches is one of those 4 second-tier cities. There's going to be some adjustment that is required for our landscape of lodging, for our lodging landscape, because they are, one of their platforms is to offer rooms at an extraordinarily low rate. So they try to not break $50. So you can get a king-size room in San Antonio for $38, which that impacts us in our average daily rate when you look comprehensively over all of our properties. So we're going to have to find a new normal, but 8 years ago, who would have thought people would pay money to sleep in somebody's rumpus room? So we kind of have to be fluid in what we have to offer. But so at this point, I encourage you to read the article. It's really kind of fascinating. He received funding from a grant from the co-founder of PayPal of $100,000. Currently, he just got like a $1.7 billion influx of venture capital to put back in. So, but that's something exciting that's happening in Nacogdoches. While we love our independent brands, it's really great to have a national brand because it gives us national exposure. This OYO is anticipated by this time next year to have over 500 U.S. properties. And to put that in perspective, Holiday Inn started in 1952, and they currently have 757 properties. So that's impressive, but it's also a little scary because things that grow that quickly and that rapidly can decline just as quickly and rapidly. So that's sort of news on what's happening there. And then you have a fresh board meeting takeaway. We have a wine, whiskey, and brew Happy Camper Holiday Tour on December the 6th. We're using that to bridge over to Nine Flags Christmas Celebration and Lighted Parade and the Christmas Tour of Homes. A reminder that we've got the Knack for Music Happy Hour series Thursdays from 5 to 8. And I mentioned those two articles that were in the app. And lastly, I will be presenting the CVB end-of-year presentation to City Council on December the 3rd. So if you can attend, I encourage you to attend. City Council really appreciates when the board is in the audience. Any questions?
There were two ladies from Visit Dallas in yesterday. Did y'all?
They did not stop by. They were not one of the 3 people that visited us yesterday.
They came to our, Dr. Cousin's class and spoke to our students. She made
Okay.
contact with them at Heat, and one of them is a former alumni of our program. So
Right, and the other one worked for William Turner, I think. The other lady.
Right, yeah.
But I met them in the.
Did they stay at the hotel?
No,
Oh.
unfortunately not. But I met them in the bar and anyway, it's small world. But they're coming back in April, and so I'd like to. I'll send them an email or. So when they come back in April, hopefully they can stay and we can.
It was a
make some
really quick
connections.
trip. They snuck
Right.
in, ate at the cafe, and then gave a presentation and probably popped by the hotel and left.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, they were
yeah.
on their way out of town, but they
Yeah.
just wanted to stop at the hotel on their way out from it. But I'll try. I'll make sure that when they come back, we make a connection with them if they have, of course, the time. But, all right, cool.
Jerry, I just want to thank you for doing and Joanna for doing such a bang-up job on TTIA. I mean, when I talk to those guys at breakfast, and two, one thing that I noticed that I'm seeing more and more of, and I wanted to make it last night but was unable to, is how our community partnerships are bringing about a synergy that is allowing us to have some huge successes that we have not seen in the past. Before you got here, I wasn't on the board, but I was very aware of what was going in town and what the CVB was doing. And as I came on and the way you coalesced the team and the bang up campaign from Hancock Advertising, and then the connection that John brings to the hotel and the support that they give us. I mean, Ryan Russell at that breakfast, TTIA breakfast. I mean, he was ever present, making sure that everything was, and they don't know that he's not a CVB worker, or that he's not, that all they see is that all of us are firing on all cylinders and working well together as a cohesive team. And it's what we've talked about, doing something that looks like something that was put together rather than just a bunch of spare part events and stuff like that. Everything looks really, really good. And it's, a tribute to you, Joanna, y'all's team, and also the partnerships that y'all have been able to form, and I think that we board members have helped forge. Working with the hotel, working with Kevin now, Joanna's strategy there. I think that it's going to encourage him to do more stuff that's going to help us, and I just really see a very strong positive direction, and I want to be a part of empowering y'all to keep it going.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Bob Phillips came to me at the breakfast. He's the uncle. And we had community members like Sarah and Mayor Pro Tem Bolden and Mary Montniak, Scott Shattuck, Brian and Hannah. But they sat at each table and just talked to people. We didn't give them any instruction. But Bob, at the breakfast, he said, I just have to applaud you on training those ambassadors. They knew just what to say. And I was, do I tell you that we didn't train them? They didn't know they were ambassadors? Thank you. So kind. We appreciate it. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, and I think that's just a nod to this community. And I've said it before, and it sounds hokey maybe, but and I remember saying it in my interview, which was about 2 years ago now. Nacogdoches deserves this kind of attention, and if it was me or some other candidate, that was what I wanted to see, was Nacogdoches to be handled in the manner that she deserves. So rich in history and natural beauty, but it's the people here that really make the difference. And so I consider it an honor and a privilege when I go to work every day that I get to promote Nacogdoches, and I get to work with the amazing CVB team that's been doing a great job long before Sherry was even a thought. But it's just communicating to the community in a way that they can see it and sort of opening the doors. And there's been, you know, it's give and take. We certainly receive a lot, but we've also opened up the possibilities to other groups to keep the CVB open at Wine Swirl instead of shutting it down, so that people have a warm place and a restroom that's not even a princess porta potty. Whereas before that was non-negotiable. Now it's one of my children's favorite things to do with me. It's just the three of us, and we keep it open. And my 14-year-old loads her arms up with toilet paper and breaks through the line of ladies that coming through. But that means so much to Amy and the downtown that, you know, that we do that. So it certainly is give and take, and I am just blessed and thankful for the opportunities that y'all have afforded to us and to the team. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We're reaping some, harvesting some good fruit from
Yeah,
from the hard
2020
work.
is going to be huge. A lot of what we've been doing the last 2 years is really going to come to fruition in 2020. So buckle up.
Believe it.
Awesome.
People believe it now.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right. Is anything?
I have one little
Yes, ma'am.
announcement. We have an SFA student, I've never heard of this show, but there's a show on History Channel called Forged in Fire. And you know it, you know the
It's the
show?
knife, the
Uh-huh.
blade thingy. Yeah.
So we have a student who's going to be competing on that show. Kevin Burgess will be on Wednesday, this November 20th episode, sometime between 9 and 11. He was a computer science student who got interested in art, changed his major, and submitted, I guess, signed up online to be a contestant, and had an interview online, and they flew him out to participate in the show, and that episode will be coming up Wednesday night.
And his knives are available at Reese Jewelry, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
So
They're
he went from computer science to blacksmithing.
Yeah.
So he went.
Traveled back in time.
He sure did.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So
That is an art too. That is definitely.
hopefully it'll bring a little attention to Nacogdoches.
So how do we feel about December 13th? Next meeting. Anybody? All good? All right. Well, does anyone have anything else like to share? Good. Fantastic stuff happening. Great staff and team at the CVB is really making an impact in this community, and your hard work is producing for our community. So thank you very, very much. With that, we'll designate our next time, 8:30, right here on December 13th. And with that, meeting is adjourned.